Khatchaturian of the Armenian Sports News podcast, here today with a very special guest joining us all the way from Yerevan, Armenian women's national team defender Savannah Taylor, on the heels of a couple of big wins for the Armenian women's national team in the UEFA Women's Nations League against Liechtenstein and Kazakhstan. Savannah, how are you today?
I'm great, feeling great. How about you?
Doing well. Out here in Boston, you're out in Yerevan. We realized we have some mutual friends, and I know your cousin. Shout out to Tallinn Pomfret and Arman Tradigan. Good people in our lives. But Savannah, you have been on the national team now for 2 or 3 years. You've been there through the downs, and now you're there for the ups. What has the whole process been like for you?
The process has been one of growth, but honestly, I think the most rewarding part of my entire soccer career has been playing for this team. There's just nothing like representing your country and looking up in the stands and seeing those flags. And it's the reason I was brought to Armenia for the first time, first one in my immediate family to come back. So it's been a really rewarding experience. Trials and tribulations, but we're on the up.
Yeah, I mean, the Armenian national team had some really, really low points recently. 24 consecutive losses dating from June 15, 2021 until April 9, 2024. So that's almost 3 years of just losing until you guys beat Bulgaria in the Euro Women's qualifiers. Uh, so just being through all of that losing, what did that do for you individually and as a team?
Individually, I think no one likes to lose, especially me. I don't like to lose. I think it's given me a fight and a drive. I think the whole team has just we all got sick of that feeling of people not thinking that we were going to be contenders, or oh, it's just Armenia. Um, and now, like, we've had players who have every time I come back to camp, I see the girls who are even from Armenia. They're just developing at this rate where, like, it's just incredible to see the growth amongst all the players. One's from abroad, one's from Armenia. Um, yeah, it's been great.
And after that loss, after all those losses, you guys have won four of your last nine. One of those nine was also a draw against Moldova in a friendly. But the last two big wins against Liechtenstein and Kazakhstan, and these weren't like close games. The Liechtenstein 6-1, and shutting out Kazakhstan, outscoring your opponents 8-1 in the last two, and now you're sitting on top of the in your group C3 in the Women's Nations League. What have those two games been like compared to those losses? What's the energy like now in the locker room?
There's definitely been a shift. Especially, I really think the turning point was Bulgaria. Momentum's a really powerful thing, and I think after we got that taste, I think confidence just grows. And when you have confidence, you play differently, you show up differently, you train differently. So it's really seeped into everything we do. At the academy, at the games. The chemistry amongst the team is stronger than ever. It's really been phenomenal. But yeah, all of that really started with that one win, and then I think that belief that, hey, we can do something. We can win, which has attracted, I think, more talent, more players to want to come in and be a part of this team. Yeah.
That's incredible. You guys have a mix of veterans and young players. Obviously, Mara Lartin and Pizlova, Kazanchan with the hat trick in the Liechtenstein game. How has that
Yeah.
experience been like playing with these supreme players around the world, and now they're your teammates?
It's amazing. To have players that all play, in different countries and have different backgrounds, and for all of us to come in and only train together for maybe a week before the games, it's an incredible feat to develop a chemistry. And I think the veterans. I mean, they're the ones that have really like paved the way, like Maral and yeah, they've been great leaders. leading us through the downs, the ups. Yeah,
No, that's awesome. They're
yeah,
the whole team has just really been coming together, and it's really popping off on the screen when I look on social media. The excitement and the jubilation that comes from you guys when you score a goal, and even from the crowd. Hopefully that crowd continues to keep growing in at these games. But there are people there in the snowy cold out there watching
yeah.
you guys play. How has that been like the reception from the Yerevan crowd, especially in those frigid conditions?
We definitely feel it. We feel the reception, and we feel the fan base growing. We feel, more supported than ever by the federation, the fans, everyone. Yeah, it's been awesome to see, from the beginning to now, kind of how people are starting to take note of us. Caring about our games. It's not just the women's team anymore. Like, when we win for Armenia, and we feel that, and it's awesome to be able to give, our country something to be happy about.
In the midst of that losing streak, I my honest opinion was that this is gonna take years to turn around, but it really hasn't. It's just been really
Yeah.
quick and really fun to watch. And it's really good to see with women's sports, I think, in Armenia. It's a little bit different there, I think, especially in the older generation where maybe playing a sport was kind of looked down upon for a young woman.
Hmm.
But that's obviously changing. And you coming from an American background, growing up in the United States, where women's sports is celebrated all the time. Um, what is your opinion that you guys are kind of this model for the young generation in Armenia that is just kind of being introduced to not just now being introduced to women's sports, but it's becoming more and more um what's the word I'm looking for? It's more and more, I guess, normal for a young girl to want to be an athlete now in Armenia versus 20, 30 years ago. How does that feel like to be part of that team that young girls are looking up to?
It's an amazing feeling. Even to, like, walk around the streets of Yerevan, and see our games, in restaurants and bars and everything being shown. It's a turnaround for sure, and there definitely is a difference between, women's sports in America and here, but it is changing, and it's very cool. Not only young girls, but young boys as well. Like, I had a boy after the game, come up to me and ask for my jersey, and like that, I can't tell you how much that means for boys, because I even grew up in a time, where it's like, oh, you play like a girl, and now to have boys that are watching in awe, and looking at you starstruck, it's really, really cool. And for these young girls to see players, doing this for a living, it's got to be inspiring, for them. And it's an honor to be a part of this change in this sport, because it is going to go down, um, as a it's the times are changing. um, yeah, and we feel it.
That's awesome. That's really cool to hear all of that. And you guys are just getting started. I feel like I'm looking at the match log for the Armenian women's national team. There's a big gap from 2012 to 2020. I don't know if this website just hasn't updated with the matches or if the team was just inactive during those 8 years. But to go from that to what you guys are doing now is very, very remarkable. And yeah. Prior again, I'm assuming this website is updated correctly.
I
Before,
think the team, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was inactive.
yeah,
I think that it wasn't a thing. I mean, I didn't know the team existed until I, spoke to someone from the federation. I had no idea. It was a family member of mine that mentioned, hey, Armenia, and I said, what? I didn't even know. Yeah,
that's wild. You're
yeah.
seeing a lot of changes with that. Like, obviously, before that, before the team came back, which was in 2020, right before COVID, actually, before the team came back, they hadn't played in 8 years. Um, and but it's a bunch of L's. 2 wins since 2000 from 2006 to 2012, and then the team disbanded and then came back in 2020. And obviously the big losing streak, and now getting some victories, with the next game being against Luxembourg on April 4th in Yerevan. It's another Nations League match. And then a few days after that, you guys will go to Astana, Kazakhstan for a rematch against Kazakhstan, and that'll be in April and May. So and one more game in June. So you guys have a lot of games coming up. It's gonna be very exciting to see if you guys can win your group and get promoted to League B. How amazing would that be?
That would be that would be insane. I mean, that's our goal. We fully believe we have the every ability to win this group. We just, I think the key is consistency. We now have a group that has gelled together. We know how each other plays, and it's a hard thing to play well when it's different players every time. So now we've got a really good core group that believes, and is putting in the work. And, we've got now solid numbers where in trainings we're pushing each other to fight for our positions. And that's super, super important. And the level is just going to keep growing with these wins and our success. And we're going to keep fighting. And for sure, we want to win this group.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it's really great to see just women's sports in Armenia grow like this, not just with the football team, but the basketball team is in full force, with with the women's team, and also the men's team, and now for the first time in 15 years, the men's hockey team is making a return from after the team had disbanded in April. They'll be playing their first games in 14, 15 years. And now the World Lacrosse just admitted Armenia as their 93rd federation, and they're going to have a women's and men's team as well. So it's been pretty incredible to see the leadership the last 4 or 5 years in team sports. Armenia has always been a nation where individual sports that we've been doing well in, when it comes to
Right.
wrestling or weightlifting or boxing or UFC. But now you're seeing the team sports come alive, and it's just been really awesome to see. Savannah, so you've been playing for the team for 2 3 years, and but professionally you've had some experiences playing overseas as well, in Finland and other nations. What has that been like, being able to play professionally the game you love?
It's been a dream come true. My whole life since I was about 5 years old. That's what I said I wanted to do. I want to play pro soccer, and it's easy for people to be like, oh yeah, everyone wants to be a pro, but I stuck with it, and it's been very fulfilling to have a dream and achieve it, and see Europe. I never had been to Europe before I got my first contract, so it's been a journey. There's good, there's bad, and everything, but it has been so, so, so cool to be able to explore the world, and at the same time play the sport that I love. The connections I've made, friends all over the world. I wouldn't trade it for a single thing. It's made me who I am. It's changed me as a person. Some people say I now have an accent, when I go back home. They're like, "Are you European?" I'm like, "No." But yeah, it's really just like the inner child in me is extremely proud and happy. And these are the things that I'm going to look back on, 20, 30 years from now. And I'm just going to be so grateful for these moments, and never take a single game for granted, a single practice, because you never know. And I'm always aware that this is a moment in time, and it's a beautiful thing to be able to step on that field and do what you love to do.
Wow. And how do you think your experience with the national team has helped you with, you're getting a lot of big time playing experience with the national team, sometimes against the top countries in the world. How has that helped you in your pro career, as far as maybe getting new jobs, or even just in the game?
It's given me confidence, I would say. I think, no matter what national team it is, there is a status to playing at the national team level. It is really you learn to you just learn to deal with many different scenarios. And I've just learned, my game has grown a lot from playing with Armenia, playing countries from all over. You have to adapt because every team is different. You have to adapt to travel, so I think it's really enabled me to be seen in the professional level, um, as a quality player, having these experiences to be on a national scale.
Very good. Savannah Taylor, everybody, Armenia women's national team defender. Uh, they're just getting started. Oh, and Savannah, what's next for you with your professional career? Are you living in Yerevan right now, or you're going back
I,
and
I'm
forth?
just I'm just staying a little bit longer to enjoy the country, explore. Because when I'm here for soccer, it's all soccer. So I really want to just get some time here to see the beautiful country. But what's next for me is I want to keep playing. I want to play in a professional team. Yeah, that's what I want. I want to keep going.
Great. Yeah. Hopefully we see that for you in the near future. Hopefully stateside as well. That would be
Yeah,
awesome. I know the women's league here is growing rapidly, and I believe Boston's getting a team soon as well. So that'll be
yeah.
see. Yeah, the league's growing very quickly. And just like the Armenian women's national team, growing very rapidly, and we're excited to see what happens in April against Luxembourg and Kazakhstan and the rest of this Nations League tournament. Savannah, thank you so much. Thank you for being an amazing representative for Armenians, and best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you very much, and we hope that everyone tunes in for our games upcoming.